Hello sweeties! I have 14 of this month's Hella Handmade creation polishes to share with you today. First up is by Danny Viana's Secret Base, described as a brown jelly base filled with green reflective glitters and blue magnetic pigment. Shown here in 2 coats, you may need 3 if you have a longer free edge. It dries with a bit of texture, so a top coat is needed for a full glossy finish. The magnet used is the Duo Magnet Wand from Lantern and Red. First shown under studio lighting and then lower lighting. Under the studio lighting, the blue magnetic pole almost has an aqua green color to it, but under the lower lighting it shifts into a bright blue and the brown base becomes a deeper brown. This also contains reflective glitter, so here it is under low lighting with a flash. Those reflective glitters very much show themselves here. Secret Base is $14 with a cap of 100. Next, by Danny Viana, is Umaboshi, described as a clear when warm to a black when cool thermal with a mix of round neon glitters. Shown here in 2 coats over a green, pink, orange, and yellow cream. I chose those colors to match the glitters. Unfortunately, by the time I received it, the summer heat burnt it out during transit, so it's not as dark as the other swatches I've seen, and I had some undissolved pigment inside my bottle. I also had to fish pretty heavily for the glitters and do some placement. Danny is aware of my experience and stated that the customer batches should not have these problems. Shown here transitioning from cool to warm. Umaboshi is $14 with a cap of 100. You can also purchase both of the by Danny polishes as a duo for $26. This is Glittering Dunes by Cuticula, described as a beige base with orange, yellow, and gold shifting pigment and silver holographic flakes. Shown here in 2 coats, you may need 3 if you have a longer free edge, dries with subtle texture, so a top coat is needed for a full glossy finish. First shown under studio lighting and then lower lighting. The gold shift shows itself under the studio lighting, but once under the lower lighting, the orange and yellow shifts really take over, and I also feel like the beige deepens some. Glittering Dunes is $13.50 with no cap. Next is 1997 Pet of the Year by Garden Path Lacquers, described as a cobalt blue jelly base accented with royal blue holographic microglitter and red, orange, pink shifting aurora shimmer. Shown here in 2 coats, may need 3 if you have longer nails. Dries with some texture, so a top coat is needed for a smooth glossy finish. Garden Path will be donating 10% of her June HHC sales to Marsha P. Johnson Institute, and a link to that will be in the description box below. First shown under studio lighting and then lower lighting. The red and pink aurora shimmer you see in the studio lighting turns into a bright orange, almost gold, under the lower lighting, and the blue base deepens some, which makes those royal blue hollow glitters really pop out. $19.97 Pet of the Year is $13.50 with no cap. Here we have Fred by Hearts and Promises, described as a deep neon blue base with copper shimmer. Shown here in 3 coats. Fred is $13 with a cap of 200. Next is Lynn B Designs Common Starling, described as a blackened green base with a teal blue, purple, and pink shifting magnetic pole as well as hollow flakes. Shown here in 2 coats, but you may need 3 if you have a longer free edge. Again, the magnet used is the Duo Magnet Wand from Lantern and Wren. First shown under studio lighting and then lower lighting. The teal blue shifts change into pink and purple under the lower lighting, and the base becomes darker, letting those hollow flakes really show through. Common Starling is $13 with a cap of 150. This is I'm a Knitter Not a Quitter by Night Owl Lacquer, described as a mint green crelly with multi-chrome flakes that shift between fuchsia, orange, gold, and green. Shown here in 3 coats, dries with subtle texture so a top coat is needed for a full glossy finish. I'm a Knitter Not a Quitter is $12 with no cap. Next is Pampered Polish's Trick or Treat Yourself, described as a purple jelly loaded with neon pink, purple, black, and hollow glitter. Shown here in 3 coats, it does dry with some texture, so a top coat is needed for a full glossy finish. Trick or Treat Yourself is $13 with no cap. Here is Lakshmi by Penelope Luz, described as a baby green base with red to gold shimmer. Personally, I think it leans more towards an aqua rather than a baby green in person. Shown here in 2 coats. First shown under studio lighting and then lower lighting. The pink shift is visible under the studio lighting, but the gold shift comes out and takes over under the lower lighting. Lakshmi is $13 with a cap of 200. Next from Penelope Luz is Goddess of Abundance, described as a clear topper that has colorful flakes and a little gold hollow glitter. Shown here in 1 coat over Lakshmi. Dries with some texture, so a top coat is needed for a smooth glossy finish. Goddess of Abundance is $12 with a cap of 200. Both Lakshmi and Goddess of Abundance are also available as a duo for $24. Here we have the Pride Duo by Penelope Luz. First is Purple Rainbow, described as a silver holographic with an intense purple to red shimmer. Shown here in 2 coats. first shown under studio lighting and then lower lighting. You can already see the purple hue under the studio lighting, but under the lower lighting, the purple shift turns into more of a fuchsia, almost red hue. Next from this Pride duo is Raining Rainbow, which is described as a colorful iridescent and hollow flaky topper, shown here in one coat over purple rainbow. It does dry with some texture, so a top coat is needed for a smooth glossy finish. 10% of proceeds from the sales of this duo will be donated to Casa Nam. Link to their website will be in the description box below. The Pride duo is $24 with a cap of $200. This is Pixie Dust from Rogue Lacquer, described as a magical micro gold hollow glitter with a sprinkling of hollow magnetic sparkle, shown here in 2 coats. Dries with a good amount of texture, so a top coat is needed for a smooth glossy finish. Unfortunately, I was not aware that this was a magnetic until well after I'd already swatched it, so I apologize for missing that. Be sure to check the listing for photos showing it with that magnetic pole. Pixie Dust is $13 with no cap. And lastly, we have Rogue Lacquer's Pride Charity Polish called Bloom, described as a pale orchid with lavender metallic and hollow flakes, shown here in 3 coats. It does dry with some texture, so a top coat is needed for a smooth glossy finish. $2 of every Bloom polish sold will be donated to the Phoenix Pride. Their website will be linked in my description box below. Bloom is $13 with no cap. So my top pick this month is Garden Path Lacquer's 1997 Pet of the Year. I just loved the base color of this, and with the shimmer and the bright royal blue glitters, it just really caught my attention. Second, I'm going to go with Limby Designs Common Starling. First, because I really like the dark base, but also because I'm obsessed with all the different and super prominent shifts from that magnetic pole, no matter what type of lighting it's under. And the third of my top 3 favorites is Purple Rainbow by Penelope Luz. I very much enjoyed the very opaque formula, and it was just so freaking sparkly and shifty in person. Let me know your favorites in the comments below. Hella Handmade Creations is open now through June 21st at hellahandmadecreations.com. And quite a few polishes have caps, so be sure to head over there as soon as possible because they sell out fast. And that's it. Thanks so much for watching. Bye!